If you saw a man wearing a plain gray t-shirt and beat-up sneakers in a San Francisco coffee shop, you'd probably think he's struggling. In reality, that t-shirt costs $600, and he likely has more liquid cash than everyone else in the building combined. Why are the world's most powerful people suddenly terrified of looking rich? This is the psychology of stealth wealth. Remember when wealth was about showing off? Massive logos, gold chains, designer bags with patterns so loud they could wake your neighbors? Yeah, that era is dying a slow, expensive death. Here's what's wild. The truly wealthy have discovered something that would make their 1980s counterparts have a heart attack. They've realized that looking rich is for people who want to seem rich. And nothing screams, "I'm trying too hard," louder than a Louis Vuitton belt buckle the size of a dinner plate. This shift is rooted in what psychologists call signaling theory. Basically, humans are obsessed with sending signals about who we are. But here's the twist. The smartest signals are the ones that only certain people can decode. It's like a secret handshake, except instead of a handshake, it's a $400 plain white t-shirt that looks identical to the $10 one from Target. Think about it. When everyone can buy a knockoff Gucci bag for $50 on Canal Street, what's the point of the real one? The status symbol loses its power. It's like throwing an exclusive party and then posting the address on Reddit. Congratulations, you just invited chaos. Let me paint you a picture. Mark Zuckerberg shows up to congressional hearings in what looks like your dad's church outfit. But that simple gray t-shirt and jeans combo, that's a Brunello Cucinelli t-shirt. For those keeping score at home, that's approximately $600 for a shirt with no logo, no pattern, and nothing to distinguish it from something you'd get in a 3-pack at Costco. Except there is something different. The fabric, the cut, the weight. Things that only someone who knows would notice. It's the sartorial equivalent of speaking in code. And this is where the psychology gets fascinating. These ultra-wealthy individuals are engaging in what researchers call counter-signaling. It's a concept from economics and game theory that basically means when you're so high status, you can afford to not signal at all. In fact, signaling becomes low status. Think of it this way. Imagine 3 people. Person A has $500, buys a fake Rolex for $50. Person B has $50,000, buys a real Rolex for $15,000. Person C has $50 million, wears a $40 Casio. Person A is pretending. Person B is signaling. Person C has transcended the entire game. Person C knows that anyone who matters will know their status through different means, their connections, their influence, where they live, what they've accomplished. They don't need a watch to announce their wealth. In fact, the expensive watch would be insulting to them. It would suggest they still care what strangers think. But there's another layer here, and it's darker. The wealthy aren't just avoiding flashy displays because they're smarter signalers. They're avoiding them because being visibly rich has become socially dangerous. We're living through the most significant wealth inequality in modern history. The gap between the ultra-wealthy and everyone else isn't just a gap anymore, it's a canyon. And when you're standing on one side of a canyon, you don't necessarily want to wave a flag announcing your position. There's legitimate research on this. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that as wealth inequality increases, the wealthy become more anxious about displaying their wealth. They fear resentment, judgment, and in extreme cases, becoming targets. This is why you see tech billionaires cosplaying as middle-class guys, the Patagonia vest, the Allbirds shoes, the "I'm just a regular person who happens to own 3 houses" aesthetic. They're trying to blend in, not because they're humble, but because standing out feels dangerous. It's the same reason why oligarchs buy art instead of yachts, or donate wings to hospitals with their names on them. Art and philanthropy are socially acceptable ways to be rich. A gold-plated helicopter? Not so much. Now here's where this gets personal for the rest of us, because stealth wealth isn't just a billionaire problem, it's infected everyone. You know that feeling when you buy something expensive, bring it home, and then feel weird about it? Like you're not sure if you actually like it or if you just like the idea of having it? Welcome to the status anxiety spiral. Psychologists have a term for this, consumptive consumption, coined by economist Thorsten Vebel in 1999. It describes buying things not for their utility, but as a display of wealth and status. But here's the twist. We're now engaged in inconsumtive consumption. Instead of buying a flashy car, we buy the $8 artisanal coffee. Instead of designer clothes, we buy $200 minimalist sneakers that look like hospital shoes. We've simply transferred our status anxiety from loud signals to quiet ones. We're still playing the same game, we've just changed the rules. And this is why we end up buying things we don't even like. That overpriced sweater that's minimalist but actually just boring, you didn't buy it because you loved it. You bought it because it signals that you're the kind of person who values quality and craftsmanship over flash and logos. You bought an identity. The uncomfortable truth is, most of us have no idea what we actually like anymore. We've outsourced our taste to status games. Do you really love that restaurant, or do you love that it's impossible to get a reservation? Do you really need those $300 headphones, or do you need people to see you as someone who would buy $300 headphones? Here's where this whole thing becomes almost funny. The stealth wealth movement has become so popular that it's created its own visible status markers. Everyone knows that Patagonia vests are the unofficial uniform of Silicon Valley venture capitalists. Everyone knows that certain plain sneakers cost $800. We've created new signals to replace the old ones. It's like watching people play musical chairs, but nobody wants to admit they're playing. Oh, this? It's just a regular vest. Just happens to be from a sustainable brand that only makes 500 units per year and requires a 2-month wait list. The psychology literature calls this a costly signal. To truly prove your high status, you need to do something that low-status people can't easily copy. Buying an expensive logo? Easy to fake. Knowing which seemingly normal items are actually ridiculously expensive? That requires insider knowledge, social networks, and yes, money. We've basically created a new aristocracy, except instead of titles and bloodlines, the secret password is knowing that the row makes a $1,000 t-shirt that looks like it came from Gap. So what's the answer? How do we escape this psychological trap where we're constantly buying things to prove things to people who don't care, using money we don't have? The real answer is uncomfortable. You have to stop playing the game entirely, not by buying simple things, that's still playing, but by actually genuinely asking yourself, do I like this? Would I buy this if nobody would ever see me with it? Because psychological research on intrinsic motivation shows that we're happiest when we do things for internal reasons, not external validation. But our entire economy is built on the opposite principle. Every advertisement is designed to make you feel like buying their product will change how others perceive you. The irony is that the stealth wealth movement almost had it right. The idea that you don't need to prove your worth through possessions, that's actually liberating. But then they ruined it by just creating new, more expensive things to prove it with. True wealth, the kind that actually makes you happy, isn't about $600 t-shirts or $40 t-shirts. It's about not thinking about the t-shirt at all. It's about being so secure in who you are that the signal doesn't matter. The man in the San Francisco coffee shop with the $600 t-shirt, he's not free from status anxiety. He's drowning in it. He's just drowning in expensive, very comfortable water. The real power move isn't stealth wealth. It's not caring about the game in the first place. But that's the hardest thing of all, because it means confronting an uncomfortable truth. Maybe we're not as secure in who we are as we pretend to be. Maybe we need those signals, loud or quiet, because without them, we're not sure what's left. So, next time you're about to buy something expensive that you don't really love, ask yourself, am I buying this thing, or am I buying who I think I'll become if I own this thing? Because one of those is real, and one is just a very expensive illusion. And that $600 t-shirt, it still gets coffee stains just like the $10 one. Status anxiety doesn't come with a warranty.